like historically, companies have typically bought software for the long term. They paid upfront a license to use that software for a long period of time. But we've seen more recently a migration to software as a service. What are the different economics behind those two pricing methods?
So traditionally, enterprise software was sold as a perpetual license where you as a customer would own the software and then you would pay a maintenance fee to the developer of the software to have further support. Now we've seen a shift towards more subscription revenue where this is bundled in as a service. The subscription model has several advantages. One is that you are guaranteed to have constant updates. You are able to spread out your payments over time. It gives you more flexibility that you could have shorter term contracts. And really when you go back to the genesis where this started to ramp up, it goes back to the financial crisis where companies were more interested in having more flexible pricing.
I think it's also improved efficiency in terms of the ability of the software vendor to introduce upgrades to the software on a more regular basis. So if you think about the old model, SAP or Microsoft would release new versions of their software every 3 to 5 years. And now you can have multiple updates and new releases periodically, typically in 6 to 12 month timeframes. And there's a circular loop. In other words, the consumer is providing feedback about particular features and you're constantly updating those features. So there's much more of a two-way conversation in terms of patches and fixes, in terms of bugs.
We're thinking about the valuations of these software businesses. You've had this movement from these long-term contracts to subscription models. And there's kind of this embedded assumption that there's a stickiness of the subscriber base. Is that a warranted belief by the market, or are they under-anticipating future rivalry?
So when you think about the enterprise software side of it, if you're a Microsoft, for example, you're providing a lot more value to your customer by taking ownership of the implementation. You are securing the software. You're always taking on the maintenance yourself, and you're bundling it and packaging it as a service. So the magic number for making this business model be sustainable and profitable is 90% retention, which tends to be the inflection point that you need to be profitable. So I think these companies are actually providing a lot of value to the customer. So I don't see any reason to doubt the 90% retention rate. If anything, I can make an argument that it may actually be understated given the higher rates of what new services an existing customer might subscribe to.
I am, however, seeing some cases where investors are taking the short-term growth rates in the recent past and extrapolating them into the long-term future growth rates, thereby developing much more rosy pictures of valuation. And that's where I would caveat that we have to be careful. Not every company is going to be successful here.
And what's the key investment takeaway from this kind of migration to the software service model?
I think we're seeing a shift towards more durable recurring revenue across the enterprise software landscape. So obviously these companies have to earn it. They have to keep innovating, keep that retention rate where it should be. But ultimately, when you consider the long duration growth opportunity, some of these businesses may actually still be undervalued.